Hello and welcome back to my channel. So for today, we're gonna check on some green cards in Kamigawa Dynasty set, as the full card spoilers were already posted for in the various Magic the Gathering websites. So we're going to check according to these three criteria: the usability, adaptability, and variance, depending on the deck build and setup, which is mostly, as we'd expect for green, will have green based aggro and maybe mid-range, and less likely it will gonna have control decks or maybe Bulgari based deck with using the green cards from this upcoming set. So I've chosen this green as my main color to start because of being familiar with my record, being a professional Magic player before, wherein I had made success in building green based deck archetypes, and of course in standard and related formats. So we start with discard careful configuration. This is an enchantment aura, a common card for 3 mana. As long as enchanted creature is enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +3 and has reach, and it gets to tap for 2 mana of any color of green color. So you can also channel it for 2 and then discard for creating a human wonk creature token, which can also add a green mana to your mana pool. So in this setup, it's very, in terms of versatility, you can have it to get your creatures modified by casting auras on them, and this is a good option to have in the list. So if you give me that you have no turn to play, you can just channel it at the end of your opponent's turn. So you can just create the human monk creature. So it is a pseudo ramp setup, which when you get back to your turn, you can easily cast a turn for your supposedly turn for spells a turn earlier. So examples are your Jess cast Chariot and the ODT creature from Innistrad. So I would consider this because of the channel as very versatile, which also getting your creatures bigger in reach, in defense, and also ramping up to your best spells in your deck build. So the next one is Invoke the Ancients. This is a rare 5 to cast sorcery, but looking at the mana cost, it needs you to have at least 4 mana to be able to play, in which it gets you to have 2, 4, 5 green spirit creature tokens, in which each of them you can choose to either have a Veil's Counter, a Witch, or Trample. So you can have either 2 vigilance creatures, green spirit tokens, wherein you can put it in defense while also getting to chump damage to your opponent, or just have basically trample, so you can get through their blockers. And also, if you have a flyer, you can also use reach for your spirit creature tokens to be able to block them. So given that this card advantage has 2, 4, or 5s for only 5 mana, it's pretty much a good choice for a mono green Stumpy deck. So next is Guitartanooki. This is reminds me of Croissant Tusker in Onslaught. It is a 6 to cast 6/5 trample creature, but with channel you can just pay 3 and discard Guitartanooki, so you can search your library for a basic land card and then put it to your battlefield tap, and then you can shuffle your library. So basically it's a 3 mana ramp spell for a basic land, which is also you get to choose not only the forest but other basic lands in case that you need to fix your mana, and then have them to ramp up your lands. So in case that you get to top deck this in the late game, it is also a good 6 to cast 6/5 Trampler in itself, which also configure enchantment effects since it's also an enchantment creature by itself. Next up, Ura, the Boundless Sky, the Dragon Spirit Mythic for green. It is a 5 to cast 4/4 with Flying Death Touch. So when it dies, you can get to trigger two options. You get to search up to 3 lands, reveal them, put in your hand. So by mean of 3 lands, any basic or non-basic land you get to choose, or you just create an XX Green Spirit creature token, where X is the number of lands you control. So given that in a green base decks, so at the least when it dies, is it gets you to 5/5, since 5 mana cost, get you at least 5/5 Green Spirit creature token as a replacement for it. The only drawback I think here is that it's just a 4/4, given that it has evasion because of flying, but 4 damage in the air for 5 mana is quite below average in my setup for a green Dragon Spirit deck. So having that has also might be relevant if you need to trade them, but it's a kind of counterproductive in my sense, because you just have to need the evasion because of flying, but having that touch mean that it's more of a defensive stance, because you're just gonna trade with your best creature by killing them through that touch. But in a way, having evasion also would also put you on the offense. So this is quietly situational abilities, but nevertheless, having to get 3 lands for the deck, in standard maybe you can get those channel lands, so you can have them as sort of a spell for you to channel in the late game if needed. So next up, Master's Rebuke. This is a new version of, I forgot the card in the past, but given that it can deal damage equal to its power of your target creature to target creature Planeswalker, it's another option for green based Stompy decks to have their spot removals. It's given that you also kill off a Planeswalker, which means that you can just basically attack them head on for your main damage, and then just do just use this card to deal the power of your creature to their target Planeswalker. So next, Season of Renewal. It's a Tritocast instant. Choose one or both. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. This also benefits as most of the cards in the setup of the deck in Kamigawa are enchantment creatures. So basically, there's a higher chance that you can return 2 cards, 1 creature, basic creature, or 1 enchantment creature from your graveyard to your hand. So you can also have this in the main deck, but I'd rather to maintain the term is consistency of your build. You can just have it as a sideboard card against most control decks. So Shigeki Jukai Visionary. It is a 2/2 1/3 legendary enchantment creature Snake Druid that gets you to return 2 abilities now. If you return it to your hand by paying 2 and tap, you can reveal the top cards of the library, top 4 cards, and then we put a land card from among them in the battlefield top, and then push the rest in your graveyard. Or for its channel ability, you can just pay XX and 2 green mana, so you can discard it and then return X target legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. So in its basic setup, it can have to be added in a green-based, let's say green-based three-color decks such as Bunt or Sultai, wherein you can get to drop in turn 2 and just jump off, held off random 2/1s or 1/1s, example for the aggro decks, and just use this ability to ramp your mana source. So given that you can just put any land from the top 4 cards, and if you're going with 3 colors, and you can have pathways or other non-basic that can fix your mana, you can just choose the best card from the top 4 and then put it in the battlefield top. So basically just ramp it, your mana, and later on you can just channel Shigeki to return those non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. So given legendary cards, you can choose not only permanents but also spells such as removals and also counter spells or card draw. So basically this is a good ability for its in terms of its ability in green-based mid-range or ramp decks. Next, Springland Avenger. It is a 5-cast 6/5 with ninjutsu for 4. So when it deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card from the graveyard to your hand. There's also a utility creature in the late game, given that you can also deal a huge chunk of damage with 6 now. You can just ninjutsu it to your evasive creature on turn 4. So if once it deals damage, you can just return another creature or maybe a land that you have discarded or you placed to graveyard early on. So just another card advantage you can provide given the 6/5 body. So just unusual also for green to have ninjutsu based creatures, but I would recommend this at least 1 or 2 copies for green based aggro. Okay, Jigan Events Temple, Mythic Saga, the Green Mythic Saga. Its ability goes with just adding first of human creature token that adds mana. You can ramp your deck. The next up is second lore counter gets some plus counter on each of the 2 target creatures, which means that you can get to modify up to 2 target creatures in your deck, which given that if you have reconfigure or modify triggers, this will help to fulfill that requirement. Then having the third lore counter, exiling it and giving it as a 2/2 creature with flying, but it can also good mana sink in the late game, as you can just pay X whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, wherein any amount added to X will just add the same number of +1/+1 counters to that creature. Then if you have 5 or more modified creatures, then Remnant the Rising Star will get +5/+5 in trample. So basically just win it all by itself, as long as you once I will control 5 or more modified creatures. So a review again, modified creatures are having equipment, auras, or counters are considered as modifications for your modified creatures. And I think this is the last one. Before we discuss with the Channel Green Channel Land, we'll have Weaver of Harmony. This is a 2-cast 2/2 enchantment creature, Snake Druid. It gives other enchantment creatures you control +1/+1, and it can copy activated or triggered ability from an enchantment source as it triggers or activated for only 1 green and the top symbol. So given that it is not a legendary creature, you can have multiple copies of this, and if you have activated abilities of your enchantments, now example trigger ability like coming into play, you can get to activate it again by copying it through Weaver Harmony. So this is a good 2-drop by itself, and if ever there's a possibility of a green-white or maybe red-green based enchantment creature decks, then this is an auto inclusion for their build as a sort of a lord creature to pump up the I know this creature type setup. And then we have Busiju, the last but not the least. This is the most hyped card in the set because of its channel ability. It is a legendary land that adds green mana, but its channel ability, when you discard it, you get to destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. So that player may search library for a land card with a basic land type and put it in the battlefield and then shuffle. So, and this ability costs 1 less activate for each legendary creature you control. So given that you've set up, at the least it can be a 1 to cast for channel, but it is channeling is ability is basically uncounterable by basic counter spells, unless we have cards like Stifle that which can basically deal with it. So this is just a 1 to cast or 2 to cast disenchant, or you can just relevantly fill the Bruin there, or Ghost Quarter the target land, or target on a basic land, and make them replace it with a basic land that is basically just a replacement for their mana, but in a way they can get to deal with their basic land, for example a mana land or any problematic non-basic land in their defending in your scenario. So wrapping up this short review for green standard cards which you can use for the upcoming Kamigawa and in Dynasty. I do hope you get to consider other inputs. No, if you have other suggestions on the possibilities of deck builds on green, or maybe upgrade for green mono green aggro, which is currently existing in the metagame, just give me a hint or comment on this video, and we can just have a good discussion about it. So again, thank you for watching this short presentation of the green cards in Kamigawa and Dynasty. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content regarding this, and until the next time, see ya.